The moment he saw her, the world tilted off its axis. The alien warrior stood tall, framed by the dying light of the twin suns, her silver armor cracked and scorched, her breathing ragged through the helmet vents. "Meet your son," she said. Her voice was neither human nor entirely foreign. It vibrated with something deeper, something ancient and sorrowful. Captain Aaron Vale froze. His hand instinctively went to the plasma sidearm at his belt, but something in her tone made him stop. Behind her stood a boy, no older than 10, with skin that shimmered faintly like liquid glass, eyes too human, and yet glimmering with galaxies he could not name. Aaron's throat tightened. "My son!" he whispered, unable to believe it. He had never seen this woman before. He had never seen that boy. And yet, somewhere in the depths of his mind, an echo stirred. A dream he once had years ago, a woman bathed in blue light whispering his name before vanishing into the void. The alien warrior took off her helmet. Her face was striking, half human, half something else. The scars that ran down her cheeks pulsed faintly like circuitry. "You saved my life," she said quietly. 12 years ago, during the siege of Zenthra Prime. Aaron's heart pounded as the memory came crashing back. He had been part of an extraction team, pulling wounded soldiers and civilians from the ruins after a biological weapon decimated both sides. He remembered dragging an alien female, burned, barely alive, into his dropship. He'd injected her with a human stabilizer against protocol because she looked terrified and pregnant. He'd never known what happened after. Until now, the boy stepped closer. "Father?" The word came out strange, like it didn't belong in his mouth. Aaron took an involuntary step back, then forward again, torn between fear and instinct. The boy looked up at him with those strange, infinite eyes, and Aaron felt something inside him break. He didn't understand how it was possible. He didn't remember her beyond that rescue. But in that moment, staring into the boy's face, he couldn't deny the pull, the same warmth that had drawn him once toward the stars. The alien warrior, her name unknown, lowered her weapon and said softly, "They will come soon. My people, if they find you with us, they'll kill you both." Her voice trembled despite her strength. "But I couldn't let him grow up without knowing who gave him his humanity." Aaron swallowed hard. The wind howled through the canyons of the dead world they stood on. The red dust lifted and swirled like ghosts between them. "Why now?" he asked. "Why bring him to me?" She looked down, her eyes reflecting a war he could never understand. "Because I'm dying," she said simply, "and because he needs to know there is goodness among your kind." Aaron's chest constricted. "There's nowhere safe," he muttered. "The war hasn't ended, not for either of us." She smiled faintly, her cracked lips bleeding silver. "It ends here for me." She kneeled before the boy and placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. "Go with him. Learn what peace means." The boy shook his head, clutching her hand. "Mother, please." "Now," she said sharply, and for a moment her warrior strength returned, the strength that had carried her across battlefields of fire and death. Then her eyes softened again. "Run, little one, live." The sky above them split open with the screech of alien engines. Shapes descended, warships, their hulls gleaming with violet energy. Aaron grabbed the boy's hand and shouted, "We have to move." The alien warrior turned her back to them, raising her plasma spear, her body already surrounded by a shimmering blue field. "Go," she roared. "I'll hold them off." Aaron hesitated, his heart ripping apart as he watched her stand alone against an army. "Why are you doing this?" he shouted over the rising wind. She turned her head just enough for him to see her smile. "Because you once did the same." Aaron ran, dragging the boy through the dust and smoke. Explosions rumbled behind them. The horizon burned. The boy stumbled, crying out as he looked back. But Aaron didn't stop. He couldn't. The gunfire faded into the distance, replaced by a blinding flash that swallowed everything. Silence followed, the kind that only comes after something irreversible. Hours later, under the flickering lights on an abandoned human outpost, Aaron sat beside a cracked control console. The boy sat across from him, silent, staring at his hands. Neither spoke for a long time. She loved you, Aaron finally said. The boy nodded slowly. She told me stories about humans, he whispered. She said one of them once saved her when no one else would. She said he was kind. Aaron looked down, feeling the sting behind his eyes. I didn't even know her name, he said. She never told me. The boy hesitated, then said quietly, her name was Azel. Something in the name hit him like a pulse through time. He remembered holding that dying alien woman in his arms years ago, her voice weak, whispering something that sounded like Azel, before she slipped into unconsciousness. He had thought it was a word in her language. He hadn't known it was her name. And now her child, his child, sat before him. The boy leaned forward suddenly. They'll come for us, he said. My mother said her people never forget debts or betrayals. Aaron sighed. Then we'll make them remember mercy instead. He stood, activating the old defense grid. The outpost blue shields flickered to life. I can't promise I'll be the father you deserve, he said, voice breaking. But I can promise I'll never abandon you. Outside, the night turned cold. The twin moons rose, casting their pale light over the ruins. Aaron watched the boy, his son, drift into uneasy sleep beside the console. He took off his jacket and placed it over him, then sat down beside the flickering holomap, his mind replaying Azel's last words. You once did the same. When dawn came, the scanners detected movement. Enemy ships approaching. Aaron looked out the horizon and smiled faintly, a bitter, tired smile. Guess they didn't forget after all. The boy woke, sensing his fear. What will we do? He asked. Aaron looked at him, really looked, and saw both himself and Azel in that small, fragile face. We survive, he said. That's what humans do. The engines roared closer. The ground shook. Aaron loaded his rifle, stepped outside, and stared up at the coming storm. If she gave her life for us, he whispered, then I'll make sure it wasn't in vain. The boy followed him, holding a small metallic pendant shaped like a star, Azel's last gift. Together, father and son faced the dawn. In that moment, as the alien fleet descended and the first light hit the dust, Aaron realized something strange. He wasn't afraid anymore. Not of the war, not of the aliens, not even of what he didn't understand. Because for the first time, he knew who he was fighting for. And somewhere beyond the clouds, where no war could reach, a faint whisper carried through the wind. Azel's voice, proud and at peace. He knows now.